What's happening, Speed Demons? Trumpeter Bobby Spellman here to welcome you to another exciting episode of Trumpet with Bob. One of the most common mistakes that I see my students making, and I'm sure I've made many times myself, is to practice difficult exercises or passages in music too quickly. It's easy to get impatient when trying to learn a new piece of music or when trying to work on a new exercise, but patience is a virtue, and it's important to remember that in playing something slowly and accurately, you're more able to easily teach your body how to learn the material, and you will be able to pick it up more quickly than if you try to rush through the exercise. So that brings me to my trumpet tip of the day: practice slowly in order to improve quickly. When practicing trumpet, it's our job to train our muscles to operate quickly and efficiently and accurately in time, as well as to make the connections between our brains and our muscles so that when it finally comes time to perform, we're able to conjure sweet music out of thin air, make it look like it's effortless, and be accurate no matter what the tempo is, given the musical context that we're in. Now, anything that you repeat regularly will become a part of your playing, will become a part of the way that you play certain passages or exercises. So, it's always important to try to practice as accurately and correctly as possible so that you build good habits and incorporate that accurate and correct motion into your playing. On the other hand, if you repeat things incorrectly or inaccurately, those incorrect or inaccurate approaches will also become a part of your playing. The best way to make sure that you're practicing as accurately and correctly as possible is to make sure that you're not practicing any faster than you can in order to play the passage or exercise that you're working on accurately. For this reason, whether you're working on a piece of music or an exercise, you should always practice the passage that you're working on at whatever speed you can play the most difficult part accurately. Now, that may be very slow, and sometimes as musicians, we really want to speed up the process and get through it. But if you can practice your parts very slowly but accurately, you will find that those connections between your brain and your muscles will quickly develop, and that you'll be able to get that music up to speed more quickly than if you were to just try to fumble through it quickly. One thing that I notice frequently with my students is you'll find a difficult passage and my students will run through the easy parts quickly and then slow down for the harder parts. If I use, for example, the Clark exercise, it might sound something like this. Now, if I continue to practice that way, by slowing down during the difficult parts, I'm going to be teaching my brain that slowing down during the difficult parts is part of the exercise. Furthermore, I'm not going to really develop the skills that I need to get that more difficult part up to speed the way that I would need to if I were going to play this in a live setting. Now, you're not going to play the Clark studies in a live setting, but the idea maintains regardless of whether you're playing exercises or music. So, the best way to make sure that you're playing everything at the same tempo and really maintaining that consistency of speed and accuracy is with our good friend, the metronome. Now, it's not always necessary to practice with a metronome, but it's an extremely useful tool, especially when practicing difficult passages or exercises that require that we stay at the same tempo. So, what you can do is play a piece with the metronome. If you find that you can play it accurately, then you're in a good space, and you can slowly move the metronome up. With every repetition, provided that you're playing accurately, you're reinforcing the good habits in your brain, and you're teaching your muscles how to operate in time. All of this you will find through this process that slowly moving the metronome click up will enable you to play any passage that you're working on with as great a speed as you need, where your only limitations is really the physical capacity of your muscles. In the beginning, it can be very tedious, but be patient with yourself. Patience is extremely important in practicing the trumpet or any musical instrument, and if you can be patient and really stick to that repetition in time, you will quickly find that the speed increases. Now, it's not necessary to practice an entire piece at the same tempo. If you have a 3-minute piece and there's only 2 measures that are giving you a hard time, isolate those 2 measures and put that on repeat. Even if it's only 2 notes that are giving you a hard time, isolate those 2 notes and put that on repeat. Start off very slowly and gradually turn that metronome up, and you'll find that before long, your muscles will be able to move in time, and the connections between your muscles and your brain will be established such that you'll be able to play it at a comfortable tempo. Now, if you end up running through an exercise or a piece of music and you end up making a lot of mistakes over and over again, those mistakes will become established in your playing. So it's much better to start off very slowly and work your way up in order to really develop those good habits. These principles remain true whether you're playing a musical piece or whether you're doing exercises. Even something like flexibility exercises really require that your muscles be able to operate in time efficiently. And in order to teach your muscles how to operate in time, you really have to think about that time, start off slowly, and try to be as accurate as possible. I'll take an example, a little flexibility exercise in a way that I may really think about the time, take it slowly, and try to be as accurate as possible. With this flexibility exercise from the Flexus book by John McNeil and Laurie Frank, I'm teaching my muscles how to get to where they need to go exactly when they need to be there. Now, it's a connection of both my muscles and my air. There's a lot going on here. But the principle remains that my goal is to be as accurate as possible. If I can continue to gradually practice that accurately, you'll find that accuracy leads to speed. Now, in order to give a real-world example of how I use these principles in order to quickly learn some difficult passages in music, I decided to document a little piece of music that I've been working on. For a gig that I have tonight, I had to learn Thelonious Monk's 52nd Street theme. If you haven't heard it, I'll put a little link in the description below. You can check out one of my favorite versions that Dizzy Gillespie does. And what you'll notice is the A section is not particularly difficult, but the bridge on that tune is pretty tricky. Thelonious Monk is one of my favorite musicians, and he certainly would write some challenging passages from time to time, so this one gave me a little bit of a hard time, but I decided to document it so that you could see a little bit of the way that I will approach taking things very slowly at first and working out small sections of passages slowly, gradually increasing that speed until I am able to play the music that I'm trying to play. So, I'll give you a quick example. This is what the bridge to 52nd Street theme sounds like, and then I'll take you through real quick how I approached learning this piece. It took me about 20 minutes top to bottom, and then I had to reinforce some of the parts, run over it a couple times. But it sounds a little something like this. A lot of funny stuff in there, little things to work on, and I had to really be focused on trying to find the best approach to getting some of these notes. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I started it. The very beginning of it, as I was going through it, I took it extremely slowly just to get a feel for what those notes are. There's a lot of different kinds of colors in the melody. It's not an obvious major scale melody or anything like that. There's a lot of whole tone and altered sounds going on, as you would expect from Thelonious Monk. So at first I just had to try to get the sound and the rhythms in my head. So I'm starting off very slowly, and that sounded like this. As I got used to how the melody sounded, the different rhythms and intervals involved, I decided to break it up into two halves, the first 4 bars of the bridge and the second 4 bars of the bridge, which each provide their own challenges. So I can work out very slowly each segment of that melody, and even beyond that, break those phrases down into smaller phrases to put on repeat in order to build my muscle memory and to make those connections between my brain and my fingers. Again, I'm starting very slowly, but I can isolate those sections and put those on loop in order to really get a feel for how those melodies feel to play. That sounds a little something like this. Once I was feeling comfortable being able to play through each half of the melody, now my job is to be able to put those two halves together to make the entire 8 bars of the bridge from 52nd Street theme. Now, even if I can play each half of the melody up to speed, I may find that the transition between the first half of the melody and the second half of the melody is giving me a little bit of a hard time. So, at that point, I may turn that tempo all the way back down again, take it very slowly, and again, with repetition, teach my muscles how to operate, making the transition between the first half of the melody and the second half of the melody. Once I feel comfortable with that, and I've got that melody down and I can move it up to speed, my goal at that point is to take the music away and really just try to memorize it and make sure that I have it internalized. However, if you're playing slowly and repetitiously, you may find that you've automatically memorized the piece and you don't have to do any extra work to try to commit the piece to memory. All right, all of that might sound a little bit like this. I'll take you through a little bit of what that sounds like. All right, and there you have it. If I had tried to run through that melody, which is pretty tricky, quickly, it's very possible that I would have made consistent mistakes and I would have reinforced those mistakes in my mind and made it more difficult to learn this piece. One thing that is important to remember is it's much easier to learn something correctly once than it is to learn it incorrectly, unlearn it, and then relearn it. That unlearning, relearning process is a drag. So it's better to start off slowly and accurately and really try to get it right the first time so you only have to learn it once, because it can be very confusing if you've got to unlearn something to relearn it. But once again, the goal here is always accuracy before speed. That's the name of the game. Accuracy will lead to speed, but you got to have accuracy or the speed will not come. But you will find that if you're accurate and repetitious and consistent and patient with yourself, that many of those fast passages will come even faster than you think. All right, gang, I hope that helps in your quest for musical excellence and swift fingers and fast, sweet, sweet bebop lines. If you like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. It's a big help to us, so we appreciate all the new subscribers. We're going to keep putting out new videos for you every week. And we hope you have a wonderful time practicing. All right, catch you in the next one, gang. See ya. Trumpet with Bob. All right, friends, thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope it helps in your pursuit of the majesty of musical self-expression. If you like what we're doing here, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Big thanks to all the new subscribers. We really appreciate your support, and we're going to keep putting out some new videos for you. The Ridgewood School of Music is now accepting new students for lessons online as well as in person in the Brooklyn, Queens, and greater New York City area. You can find us on our website at www.ridgewoodschoolofmusic.com, and you can send us a message and we would love to help you achieve all of your musical dreams. For some more musical fun, you can also follow me, Bobby Spellman, on Instagram @BobSpellman, or in any of the other social media platforms listed in the description below. Thanks again for checking out this video. Happy practicing, and we'll catch you next time.